Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking with our distinguished guest today, Councillor Darren Rodwell, leader of the Council of London Borough of Barking and Dagenham. We were talking about the ethnic mix of the borough. It's a very rich borough, community-wise. There are 130 distinct communities. Yes, Darren, you were talking about the ethnic mix of the community, and
yes, it
wasn't like this about 100 years ago.
It wasn't like this about 15 years ago, or even 10 for that matter. So if I go back from when I was a young lad,
right.
I remember when the first, if I use a generic term,
right.
the first Asian family moved
right.
in. I remember when the first black family moved into my area of the borough.
What brought them there? The work, or?
It probably was work, to be honest, but Dagenham at that time, everyone was in work because of Dagenham Fords, and if they weren't working in Dagenham Fords, they worked for a company that supplied Dagenham Fords. So when Fords went on holiday, because Fords told you when to take your holidays and so on and so forth, the place was a ghost town. But that wasn't sustainable over the long term, so education was very poor in my borough at the time. What's great about all the new communities moving in is all the new communities have an appetite for change. They have an appetite to learn. They have an appetite to want to work together, and that was proven in 2010 when we beat the BNP. But moving on, 5 years on from that, we managed to have our first group of great community events last year. Over 100,000 people came out to the different events. Not one incident, not one police incident at all. And that's what we're trying to grow on, because we all want the same thing. We want a nice, safe place to live. We want nice, clean streets. We want good education, and we want a nice place for our families to grow up in. And that's what we're trying to achieve. Right. And despite the issues, and every area has issues.
Who are these 130 communities, ethnic communities?
Well,
Bangladeshis, yes, Indians, Pakistanis, Somalis.
Yeah, well, out of the 54 states of Africa, I believe we have 50 of them. Out of most of the Eastern Bloc, so Eastern European countries, we have every nationality there. Right. If you look then into Europe, we have every nationality of European. So, you know, it really is a great collection of people and folk history. So I love music and dance and the written word. I love poetry. And, you know, obviously we're celebrating 400 years of William Shakespeare at the moment. But I know from around the world there's been great writers, there's been great poets, there's been great musicians. So in the borough, one of the events we do is the Barking Folk Festival, and the idea is if we can get a piece of music from every culture, if we can get a piece of written word from every culture, if we can get dance from every culture, food from every culture, what a wonderful celebration it is for the community to understand each other and what brings us together. Because actually there's so much, we're all individuals, but actually we want to live together, we want to work together, and we want to move forward together.
Well, moving from that topic, I remember that as I was researching about you and the borough, I saw that Her Majesty the Queen visited your borough last year, and in your welcoming speech, you said quite a few interesting things. I would like to quote something from here, but before that, I'll join many other people to wish Her Majesty the Queen a very happy birthday from all of us at NTV. And I'm sure that my distinguished guests will join in.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Mom.
You said, and I quoted from your speech, not many people realize the historic links we have, such as the biggest fishing fleet in the country. But before that, I'll come to the fish later. Not many people know we are one of the richest boroughs for employment a number of decades ago. Now, what is the employment situation now? You have 130 ethnic communities. I'm surely Surely they do work somewhere.
To be honest, the vast majority of our ethnic communities work very well. They're working in London, they work locally, they're very entrepreneurial. Where we have a problem in the borough is that white working class group of people who were poorly educated because they were brought up to work in Fords, like myself in some respects. And that's caused us a problem, because actually getting those people to understand that a benefit culture is not the right culture is very difficult. So we had the highest unemployment in London.
But they must be the senior people, isn't it? Because the younger generation did not go through the Ford plants.
They didn't, but their parents did. So when their parents are saying it's okay to live on benefit or to get benefit from the country, it's like endemic in their family. So it's about, we've got three or four generations of people not working. So it's about changing that attitude, and that happens when new communities move in. Now obviously sometimes there's resentment, so what we've got to do is help everyone understand how we can all work together to make sure that everyone benefits from the changes that are happening. And I'm really proud about what the borough's doing. So the Queen come in last year. We were the only London borough to have Her Majesty, or the royal couple actually for that matter, to come and visit over the 50th celebrations. And that was brilliant. Over 10,000 people came out from all nationalities, all backgrounds, all ages, and it was fabulous to see the whole community come together and celebrate that. So we want to build on that sort of community momentum and deliver those new entrepreneurs, those new young people that will do things that, you know, I never believed were possible, but they do, and it's fabulous to see. So I'm really pleased that, you know, from our history of having full employment, I really believe we can get back there again with the new communities.
You also mentioned in your speech the Made in Dagenham women who fought for equal pay.
Yes.
Could you elaborate on that?
Well, again, the borough's had a really rich history in feminism. Women historically, in all cultures, including here in the UK, have always been classed as not as important as men. Well, in Barking, it's been very different. So we've had 4 Queens of England run what was the monastery that was in Barking town centre. So when there was the abbey and the monastery, if you was ill, you were sent to Barking to be made better from witchcraft. That's where the saying is, you're Barking mad. That's where it comes from. But at the same time, when William the Conqueror beat Harold, the King of Kings, he took surrender of all the other kingdoms, which we know today as counties, in Barking. So we were the first United Kingdom government was in Barking. So when you look at this, our feminism has really grown from there. So Mary Wollstonecraft, the lady who wrote the book about men and women being equal, wrote part of the French National Constitution. She came from Barking. When you look at, you come all the way up, the suffragette movement, which is being celebrated in 2018. The suffragettes used to meet in Barking before they used to go up to London. And then you come into 1968 and 1984, that was the women saying, you know what, we are skilled, we have something that we can contribute to society, treat us equally. And that's where it comes from. So, you know, I'm really proud of what our young women can do, and there's some tremendous young women. One of my deputies, Councillor Ashraf, you know, she is a phenomenal young lady. She can speak 4 languages. She is really, really intelligent, articulate, and I'm really proud to have her as my deputy.
Well, it's great to have people who can help you run the borough. Has it always been like this, Barking and Dagenham, or was it created 50 years ago, as you said?
Well, as Barking and Dagenham, again, it's a very interesting history, because Barking as a town was a very important town. So under the Church of England, we've got our own bishop, because it was church land, and Dagenham was only a village. So Dagenham, Becontree Heath and Chadwell Heath were all villages, and Barking was the town, and that's where the fishing fleet was. You said about the fishing fleet earlier. Well, we were the fishing fleet for London, And you know, we ice all fish. You know, you see the ice in a fish. Well, that was pioneered in Barking. We have something called the Ice House Quarter, and that's where we pioneered icing the fish, so they kept for longer. And when you link all that together, it's quite an exciting history. But the borough came together properly in 1965, and we have been one London borough for 50 years now.
Oh, great. How about the fishing industry? Is it still there? Is the fishing region there?
The fishing went away as soon as steam came along, because then you could come in straight from Felixstowe or from Grimsby even. Billingsgate, just down the road from this studio, I'd like to think it will come back to Barking one day, because our location's far better than the Docklands for people to get in and out these days.
Great. I'm sure you will one day. Again, I quote from the same speech of yours. We are full of ambition and determination to play our part in the success of our capital city. Now, what is the borough doing to become a part of the success of this capital city? I mean, what sort of business opportunities are there?
Well, we've got the highest land receipt in London. So 400 hectares of land. We're looking to build with partners, private business, 35,000 homes. At the same time, industrial land space, it was developed in the 1920s when London pulsed. The last time London grew was in the 1920s. So all the industrial land space at the moment is still sort of 1920s design and build. We believe that actually a lot of that could be changed into much more productive industrial business space for the 21st century, so we could probably quadruple that. So actually I think it is really exciting. There is a lot of ambition amongst our young people in all the new technologies, so green energy technology, the IT technology. We're really getting quite excited that we could possibly have a new university campus coming to the borough, which would be really good for our young people as well. So there's so much opportunity for everyone to engage in the new way of moving forward. We've just had a growth commission, which is where we've had international entrepreneurs and business people come in and tell us how we can link into business, how we can link in with our neighbouring boroughs, how we can link in with London, and actually how we can link in with the world. So it's a really exciting, vibrant place at the moment.
Well, from very serious things to something more, not trivial, but about smoking. See, Barking and Dagenham, Stop Smoking Wins Award. I read it somewhere. Helping pregnant mothers stop smoking, you see. Why not also the fathers?
Well, we'd hope the fathers would do that as well. As someone who's never smoked, I have to say, I find it sad that people feel the need to smoke, and for their own health, actually. Again, we have a history in the borough where COPD, which is a breathing disorder, we have one of the highest concentrations of COPD in the country.
Is it because of, is it a knock-on effect of food?
Some of it's foods, some of it's the other industrial areas, some of it was asbestos. So my mum has emphysema, which is linked to COPD, and that's because she smoked. So, what I want to do is see people living their lives as long as possible and as fruitful as possible. So smoking isn't one of those things that help. So, we try and be as proactive in getting people to, not drink too much.
How will you manage that with all the cuts in the NHS?
Well, again, it's about talking to the NHS and working with them, and it's about educating children. When I was young, the reason why I certainly didn't want to smoke, because Superman told me not to smoke, because there was a big campaign about Superman and Mr. Nicotine. And Superman could look through the body of Mr. Nicotine and see the dirtiness in his lungs, and that captured my imagination. So I didn't want to smoke.
Okay, Darren, another break, and then we will come back again to see the visionary eyes of Mr. Superman. See, we can solve some of the problems.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. We'll come back soon after this short break. Thank you.